Here's another diamond glaze technique I have to share with you. This time I'm using it as a paint to make a faux stained glass window card. Now I start out with this stamp here. This is a stained glass stamp here that is called Day and Night, and I'm going to stamp it on this sheet of embossable window plastic. Now because the plastic is a non-porous surface, I do need to use a permanent ink pad here, and I just tap the ink right onto the stamp. Now you want to make sure you apply a nice even coverage of ink and press that stamp down without rocking it on the plastic because it's kind of slick, so it can slide. So you want to press down with nice even pressure. Now this is going to take about 15 minutes to dry on the plastic here. So I have another sheet of plastic that's already dry, and I want to paint my diamond glaze on the back side of the plastic. The reason why I want to paint on the back side of the plastic is because that way it's on the inside of the card and it's protected. So here's my diamond glaze, and I'm going to squeeze out about a dime-sized diameter of diamond glaze on a sheet of shrink plastic. And the reason why I'm using shrink plastic is because, again, it's a non-porous surface, and that gives me a little more time to work with the diamond glaze. I've applied a drop of dye-based ink, and using a paintbrush, I'm going to mix that up very carefully, and I don't want to mix it too fast because if I work fast, I might create some air bubbles in that. I want to paint the tinted diamond glaze in the areas that I want, for example, this one to be yellow, and then let it dry, and it's going to take about a half an hour to dry in between each color, and then I'll apply my next color. Now, the nice thing about diamond glaze is you can clean it up with just regular water while it's still wet, but once it's dry, it's kind of permanent. I'm just going to put my paintbrush in a cup of water while I'm working on this. Now I have a finished piece here, and just so you know, I have this little piece of paper on the back of it, just so you can see what it looks like. With the painted side up, I'm going to apply a piece of aluminum foil to add a little bit of texture to the card here. Now, here's my piece of foil, and I'm just going to crumple that up and then very carefully open it back up. Aluminum foil actually tears quite easily, so I don't want to pull it too hard. Now be sure you stick the really shiny side of the aluminum foil onto my faux window here. And I'm just going to use a couple drops of the clear diamond glaze without the tint on here to adhere the foil. So just press that down, and then this is going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to dry. Once the foil has adhered to the plastic, you can see I've got this great texture here now. To finish off the card, I trimmed off about a ½ inch all the way around, and I cut a window into my square note card, and that's my finished card. The foil adds sparkle to the card, but if you want to make it really sparkly, how about a little bit of glitter? Now this card I used the surreal stamp, and I stamped it out onto the window plastic. I used this one panel on my cube stamp here. I stamped this on my window plastic using the permanent ink, and I painted with the tinted diamond glaze, letting it dry in between each color. Now this piece is completely dry, so in order to add the glitter, I'm going to use a little bit of just clear diamond glaze. I want to spread it out with my paintbrush, and I'm just working very carefully so that I'm not going outside of the line. And because the tinted diamond glaze is dry, I don't have to worry about the colors bleeding. Now that I've applied the diamond glaze, I want to add the sparkle and the glitter. So I just take the Prisma glitter, which is kind of a clear but sparkly iridescent glitter, and just apply that over the wet diamond glaze. I'm not going to worry too much about all this extra glitter that's stuck to the window plastic. It's held on there with static electricity. Once my diamond glaze is dry, then I can brush all of that off with just a regular brush. So let me show you what it looks like from the front. Now remember, I've got this white piece of paper back here, so it's a little bit easier for you to see. And I just flip that over. Doesn't that look fabulous? Now let me show you what it looks like when it's inside the card. So here's my finished card, and I just have to show you that once the glitter has dried onto the plastic, all of the other glitter that was held on with static electricity just brushed right off. Now, this is my stained glass card that uses the foil background, and they both look so sparkly. They just make me feel good when I'm making these cards. So now you have a couple more ideas that you can add to your library of diamond glaze techniques.